my dad is from Spain. So I thought, well, let me put a little twist on it and do an accent like my dad.
So I came up with this voice, and this is the voice that I used to audition.
And then the trailer came out. It was played at Madison Square Garden. I was like, woo! And I thought that was it. Okay, that's great. Well, then I heard that like Michael B. Jordan was attached, and I was like, I don't think that I'm gonna be a part of this.
I think both you and Chris Sabat like DM'd me on Twitter like, what?
Yeah, because I was like, well, I mean, and my fiance was trying to be so positive. He's like, just because Michael B. Jordan's attached doesn't mean that you won't be attached. And Sabat's like,
No, you're not going to be in it.
so when the auditions came through, I auditioned again for Colonel Marin, and I'll never forget, I was at Denver Comic-Con in the back in the green room, sitting across from Hodor. And I got the email like, hey, you're going to be in Genlock, we need to figure out timing. And I screamed so loud that he looked at me like I was about to explode, and my friend Jamie Markey was on the other side of the convention center, and she could hear me. And then the process, I actually did most of the recording in Dallas. I would go to Sound Cadence Studios, which is like a little satellite studio.
We use them a lot.
Yeah, and I'd work there, but I actually made the drive to Austin at least once because I wanted to work one-on-one with Gray and see. It's one thing working over Skype, and it's another thing working face-to-face. It was really, really cool the way that he would build the environments. And you really had to use your imagination to kind of picture, okay, this is where I am, this is what's happening, here's who I'm talking to. And it was a really, really neat experience. I do so much anime that it was completely different. I'm like, oh, I get to lay down the voice. And then when you see the character with your voice, it's like, holy moly, that's so weird and cool.
That's awesome. You know, son, just like Monica, we always look for opportunities to work with both of you, anytime we can. But the process in order to bring you on to Genlock, it seemed like it happened pretty quick, at least on our end.
Yeah, well, what was interesting was a couple years ago, I think, when Genlock was still, I think it was around the time you auditioned for the trailer, Gray brought me in for some just sort of general auditioning, just to put you in the voice bank, hear how you do. And I ended up reading for Chase, the part for Chase, the part for Rufus Weller, and then I read some No Man of Nowhere characters, one of which I booked, Toro. But what was funny was I read it, I was like, oh, this is really good. And I was like, man, even if this is just a general thing, it'd be kind of cool if I got this. And then I saw that it was David Tennant who got it. I was like, I guess if I'm gonna lose to somebody, it might as well be David Tennant and Michael B. Jordan, so. But I also freaked out when I saw I was like, Dakota Fanning? David Tennant? That's insane. But then what was great was, a while into it, I think, my agent was like, hey, they're interested in having you audition for a character. And I was like, second chance. All right, I want to be on. Now that I, had seen all the stuff where I was like, I'd already wanted to be on it, but I was like, I really want to be on this show now. But the character I play is really fun. It was just he's kind of a goob. And he also kind of looks like me. Was that intentional? I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, I did not know what the character looked like, and then I saw the episodes oh, that looks a lot like me.
You gonna cosplay him someday?
I should actually, yeah. You should sell the Artasa coats, then I'll cosplay it.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And the orange jumpsuits and the cuffs.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, the prison outfit. Ooh.
Morgan is some weird merchandise.
Take no advice from me.
Henry, handcuffs, yeah. But yeah, otherwise the process was great. I recorded remotely in LA, but working with Gray was great, and overall it was a blast. So I agree.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Evan, we were talking earlier about the writers' room, right, in Blood Village. You've been a part of Genlock for some time, and tell us about how you came on board. And I can say, and I will say this, you helped shape the story in such a large way, and we really appreciate that. But talk about your experience of coming on board and just getting used to the story and some of the changes that you kind of helped make.
Yeah, it's funny. You guys were already well along in the development of Genlock, and I got to see some of the visuals and talk to Gray about the story a little bit. I think if I had any impact on a production, it was probably like helping surface some of the themes. Maybe it's my background as a critic, but I tend to think of in terms of themes and psychology of the characters. And I mean, the fact that the lead character on the show is a black man is amazing to me, and I think part of a huge step forward. And the show isn't about his blackness; he's just a dude trying to do the right thing and grapple with these circumstances that have suddenly thrust themselves upon him. And you know, one of the things I remember talking about with Gray early on is you don't want to give this guy a really downtrodden mindset. You want to give him a mindset where like the stuff he's learning about who he's becoming, what he can do, and what that means for the world is really exciting and energizing for him. And I love throughout the whole arc, Chase is really upbeat. The whole arc of the first season. So that and this cast, the fact that there's a lot of cultural diversity and diversity across different vectors is really important to me. And that was one of the reasons I was excited to come on. But it's also like it's funny and it's not like super messagey, you know? Like that stuff is there if you want to dig it out. But really it's about people trying to figure out what their future is going to look like and have like a really strong hand in shaping that future, not just for themselves but for the rest of the world. And I'm excited to see where this stuff goes next. Like we have more to explore with Ether and Siege and just the technology. It's been a really fun experience for me. And I think one of the things that's great about this show is, you know, it comments on the way technology changes our lives and impacts our lives, but and how that can have negative and positive impacts. But ultimately, what matters the most is how we treat each other. And I think, you know, as the story progresses and evolves, we're gonna have a chance to do some really interesting things along those themes.
Very, very cool.
Yeah. If I can touch on that a little bit too, one of the things that was really important, and we talked about it a little bit, but it was really important for us that we have correct and sensitive representation in this show across a multitude of fronts, you know, racial, gender stuff. We had an actor that we were talking to for the part of Val, who I was totally fanboying about.
We can say it. You can say it. Go ahead. Go ahead, say it.
So, an actor who has played a Ukrainian sniper and has a lot of credibility in the LGBTQ community. Any fans of Orphan Black? We were talking to Tatiana Maslany, and I was really excited. I'm a huge fan, so I was really excited about that. And we actually talked to her. She was interested, but we were on a call, and she said, you know, she asked a lot of questions about, you know, the story and everything. And then she said, have you talked to any actors from the LGBTQ community? No. And we got a call back a day or two later, and her agent said she wishes you good luck. She thinks it's going to be great, but she thinks you need to talk to actors from that community for the part of and she was right. Yeah. She turned us down for the most principled, ethical reasons. It's so annoying. But no, it was. I mean, it was really important, and that was one of many situations where we were educated. You know, we had lessons that we needed to learn, and we did.
Yeah. And we were lucky enough to be able to work with Asia, Kate Dillon.
Yeah.
They did a great job.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Hey, so we want to talk a little bit about the development, and as well as everybody on this panel can kind of chime in on this, because you've seen some of this art before, and you've seen some of the conversations. You've also had conversations with Gray about how you kind of went through character and discovered character, so please chime in. But we're gonna show you some art from early development. How's that sound? You guys want to see that? Cool. Let's go ahead.
Can we get the laptop up?
Bring it on up.
Sweet. So this is an early lineup done by Bach Do. Monica, there's the Colonel. First pass at the Colonel, all the way over on the right there. So a big part of what we went through is figuring out like what is the Genlock style, and we spent a lot of time going through different designs and trying to figure out, you know, what it's going to look like, how, and we also wanted to maintain a certain connection to Ruby. We wanted it to be accessible to Ruby fans, so we started with box design, and then we kind of went through some internal redesign. So one of the things that we started with is we had to figure out how realistic do we want this. So we came up with this diagram, which was our realism versus stylization spectrum, and had to try and figure out, okay, where do we fall? And so, you know, we've got the more realistic Blade Runner anime over on the left, and then, you know, super stylized over on the right. What we finally decided was that the girls would be kind of our vector, our connection. The younger and female, the more like Ruby characters they would be a little bit more on the stylization and more, you know, moe style. And then, you know, male or older, they would veer sort of more into realism. So of course, we started with Cammy. And we worked with a contract artist, Asuka, who helped us sort of dial in the Cammy we know and love. So she was really the first one that we, you know, locked down and said, okay, this is a Genlock character. Final concept there. And then we did some internal versions of Chase. So Pat Rodriguez, our director on Ruby, actually did a version of Chase, and I think the next clip is actual animated, what we call Ruby Chase.
Oh my God, that does look like Ruby.
Yeah, so is it gonna play?
Oh, come on, red light, green light, let's go. Hey.
Yeah,
She's so happy.
that was an early version.
I would have bet money it was the salute. I would have lost. This is the Chase that's like, I'm never gonna get shot down.
And so the reason why it looks Ruby is because we use the Ruby base in order to make Chase, right? And then we obviously the Ruby art director, Ruby crew in order to put together, and that was the goal. Like at the very beginning, we were like, hey, you know, let's do something that is just Ruby, but just slightly different. And as we started casting and we started understanding the story more, we realized we had to take a bigger step beyond. And that's the reason why we did not use this version.
Yeah, and art director Michael Pedro came in and started doing some passes on stuff. So, oh, come on. No, next one. Next.
It's like, you're never gonna get rid of me, and I'm never gonna get shot down.
All right, bear with me.
I can't say it enough.
This is cool.
All right. So this is Michael came in, and this is where we started, you know, taking it a little more realistic and getting away from sort of the Ruby look.
So great.
Yeah.
So strong.
And then another fun one, this Asuka did some versions of Val. And then Aaron Wynn, internal concept artist, did Kazu. We actually had a call with, was it Takaya? From Warner Brothers Japan. And they actually gave us some notes on Kazu's design to sort of make him more appealing to a Japanese audience. You know, just stuff we wouldn't have thought of, and they gave us some design notes. So this was the original, and then, you know, based on those notes, we kind of took him here. And
He looks a lot less happy.
But he looks a lot more sexy.
yeah. So let's see. Early concept of the kernel. Larissa did this one. We got some Henry here.
Just saying, RT store. It could be a big hit.
We're all set. Early Migas.
Migas is like, can we say though, like very, very much inspired by one of our crew members, Alex Juarez.
Oh yeah.
Look at a picture of Alex Juarez, like, and then look at this picture and tell me that they're not the same person. Oh my God, you're right.
We just need to put sunglasses on him.
Just Alex. Yeah, give him a Subaru and throw sunglasses on him, and that's just Alex.
That's it. And early Sinclair.
I like it.
And early costumes for the doctor.
Can we wait, no, hold on, wait, pause, stop the panel. Hey, Blaine, Chad. So when Genlock was ramping up, pretty much everybody that was a part of it was really eager to look at early animatics and early exports and see how it was doing. And by that I mean all of us were like, how shit are we compared to the real actors? And we were all like looking, we were all super, super worried. And this has only happened on a couple of shows. But internally, I would say the I Like It meme started spreading around before the show even got started. And I don't remember, like, because y'all work over at a different location than us. Like, I don't know how that kind of spread through your office. But I came into work one day at the link and passed by somebody's computer and then stopped and then turned back around, and it was just that screenshot of Sinclair, I almost just said Blaine, of Sinclair that said I like it, and I found out that that had become a thing of whenever shots were being reviewed or something, I was like, hey, how do you feel about this? People had that image saved on all of their computers to respond with that. They had a Genlock meme channel for things like that, and Noelle reached out to me and slacked me, and she gave me that picture and she goes, spread it everywhere.
I was over there at one point because I was directing like $1 million about cartoon or something, so I was in the animation area, and I passed by and she was like, hey, do you want to see the Sinclair memes? And like they have like a folder
Want
of
to see
memes.
some dank memes? But it's a common question at Rooster Teeth.
A quick aside, whenever I had to come back and I had to do a pickup line where we revealed that, you know, the real Sinclair had escaped and he was like running away and stuff like that and trying to escape. We're trying to figure out like, how do we let the audience know, because he looks a little beaten up and he looks a little more haggard now, how do we let the audience know that that is Sinclair? And then I was like, Gray, let me put this to you. He's gonna look in the camera and he's gonna say, I don't like it.
That's awesome.
He didn't go with that, I don't know why.
I just love that the community reacted to that the exact same way we all did. And you were always like, you ran along with it, and it always just made me happy. We'll just go.
So let's do some Q&A. How's that sound?
Cool. I want to show one thing first.
Oh wow, it's been a while since we've seen that.
This thing.
This is the pitch deck that we used to get the project greenlit. I know Gus and Bernie have talked about it on the podcast, but this thing is massive. It's full of concept art and story arc and all that stuff. But we used this, and I heard that Bernie said, from now on, all the pitches need to be like that.
And then all of us went, fuck. Yeah, well, that was when Genlock was getting pitched, was when a lot of other different properties were getting pitched and developed, and we were discussing what we wanted to greenlight and what maybe we should wait on. And then that fat stack got dropped on people's desks, and it was like, cool. So that's the bar, huh? Well, I wrote a joke on the first page of mine, so I'm dick.
Well, let's do some Q&A. And first off, an overwhelming question we're asking is there going to be a Genlock Season 2? And the answer is we don't have any information to give at this time, but we'd love to make Season 2. More to come.
Man, I just watched disappointment roll through that crowd.
But when we do, one of the things that we are focused on is making sure that we have a better, not only good quality of show, but have a good quality of life for our team. We've learned a lot of lessons from Genlock, We've learned a lot of lessons from Ruby. And now, even, you know, for the past 6 months, we've been putting things in place that I think is improving, you know, the day-to-day at Rooster Teeth. We have, you know, writers' rooms, and we have multiple directors on shows, and, you know, we're strengthening our management processes. There's a lot of things that we're paying mind to, you know, from a very high level, but then a very focused level as well. And when we are ready to make Genlock 2, we're going to be ready. So. So let's do some Q&A. The first one is going to be for everyone on the panel. It's from Anonymous. Oh, you know what? This is for voice actors. I was wrong. For voice actors, if you could swap roles for an episode, which would you take and why?
I mean, everybody's probably gonna have a lot of the same answers here, and I feel bad for probably stealing the obvious favorite. Nugget, man. Nuggets. I mean, I don't want to just call dibs on the fan favorite, but I think I have the range to go for Nugget. Maybe that's just me.
There's no way in hell I would do a better job than David Tennant, and I think Dr. Weller would be a lot of fun to do.
I'd have to agree on that one. That just seemed like he was having fun in the booth while he was recording that. So yeah, that would be my choice.
Y'all both went with Weller, huh?
Yeah,
That's really cool.
there's not, you know, like Mega sucks and, you know, I mean,
Yeah, that's really funny. Hey, what would your Weller sound like?
Yeah, what's your best Weller?
you know what?
Yeah, what now?
I have no voice right now.
I like this stuff.
I'd pick Weller too. I mean, that's such a good role.
I would say Cammy, but I can't do the accent.
So I'd probably go for like Valentina.
Hey, don't feel too bad. Gray couldn't do the accent either. When we were reading off one another, because we've talked about this a lot. So I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But on early animatics for Genlock, before we had everybody cast, Gray was doing all the temp voices. It was a bad idea. But when we were like rehearsing, or when I was auditioning for Migas, I explained the first time I went in, I tried doing like the authentic like Mexican accent, and I was trying to do it, and then he gave me his Cammy read, and I was like, you need to stop. I cannot hear you doing that. You've just I sound like the Lucky Charms guy now because of you, and I need you to stop. And I hear you, and I appreciate you. Just please let me do my business all up over in this room.
He did that in front of David Tennant.
I was wondering if there were any embarrassing stories we could tell, but like Gray played himself apparently.
I just hear that line where he's talking about a Karen. Like that is what I hear.
Karen is a big fucking Karen.
Okay, next question. It's for the entire table. It's from Ryan Parker. Ryan, are you here? Awesome. Thanks for the question.
What's up, Ryan?
Cool. What's your favorite scene from season 1?
Oh.
I'll go first. Literally the very first scene, like Chase at dinner with his family, was like so great. Part of it was the trickery of thinking everybody was present at the same time, and then revealing that some of that was telepresence and remote. But also, like, I thought it was a very concrete example of who he was, what his background was, like the warmth of his family environment, and why he ultimately continues to be more or less well adjusted as the season goes on. He's got a strong family foundation, and there's a lot of love there. So yeah, that's my favorite. I mean, I know I probably sound like a dork going for like something sentimental and not cool action scenes, but like, yeah, that told me who that guy was. There was a little bit of awe. Thank you, whoever did that.
I really like the cool action scenes actually. Yeah, I mean, for me, some of the best parts are like when Val and Kazu do like their dance.
Oh yeah.
So good.
Shout out to Kim Newman, who animated a lot of that.
Like, or the team up at the end, like where with all 5 of them, like that stuff to me, like just it felt rewarding on a character level, and then just on a sheer animation spectacle level, I was like, wow, this is like so fun to watch and so satisfying. So
I think for me, whatever the Holland started getting their more like specialized armor and stuff like that, and then they kind of revealed like Kazu's like a heavy, and his big ass samurai armor is just loaded, and just anytime he would just trash a spider tank or anything, it was just chills. Love Kazu.
It sounds, I mean, it's really dark. But my favorite scene is when Cammy gets her head ripped off. And I wonder why people think like I'm a monster. But no, because up to that point, you know, there's so much hope. And like it's like you go from such a low, you start from such a low point at the beginning of the series, but then as more and more people start coming on board the team, they start learning how to use the holons, and there's this really like your robot birthday where you learn to walk again, and there's all these fun like world building things, and it's just snowballing, and you feel like, yeah, maybe we can fucking do this. And then that happens, and I think, the performance I was given was already like bone chilling, but it really gave this sense of like, yeah, you're in a giant fighting robot, but that doesn't make you invincible. And there was just something about that really felt like it just like took out the kneecaps of like someone just running towards a bright future, and it was like, no, it's not going to be that easy. You're going to have to get over some stuff. A lot of the Cammy stuff I really dug in this season.
I think the scene that I liked the most, just because how it came together, was the fight scene in episode 2 between Yaz and Blaine's character, Sinclair. What was cool about it is all the things that were going on. The suits light up, and they get brighter and brighter as they start to get more powered up. Yaz, you know, Sinclair's learning to use the suit for the first time. All these cool things start to happen, and the fight is badass. And I believe, who was it? John Yang who did that fight? Yeah, our animator and many other people worked on. John Yang animated those fight scenes, and it was amazing. So.
I'd like to say my favorite scenes were everyone where Jodie did not die. The first, man, that jet sequence through the city was like the moment for me. Like I already knew this was gonna be cool, but like I saw that and I was just blown away by our animation department and what they put together. It was just breathtaking. It was super cool.
Yeah, the scene where hologram Dr. Weller says goodbye to the team in the cockpit, still waterworks.
I hear bagpipes, which seems appropriate right now.
I think for me as an actor, it was any of the scenes with David Tennant, because
Right.
holy moly, I'm in scenes with David Tennant. But I think also as far as scenes go, one of the scenes that hit me the most, and it was very early on, I can't remember exactly which episode, but it's the training episode. And at the end, Dr. Weller has this monologue where he's explaining like the state of the world and what our hopes are and what our dreams are. And to me, that was just such a powerful, he's just sitting there talking, and it was such a powerful speech. Like I felt it just in every little place. I'm like, I want them to survive, I want them to do well.
And I'm like, yeah, her head got ripped off.
Okay, next question is from ex-private Caboose X.
Oh my God, Caboose is here.
Yeah, he's in the house.
Be careful.
Hello, guys. There we go. The question, it goes out to the cast. If you could create your very own Holon, right? What would it look like? What would the abilities and weapons be? And how would you arm it?
Well, let me start by saying I've had this thought for the longest time because I just want Sinclair to have a big ass cool robot because I want an action figure of it. But I kind of want like black and gold paint, and then I don't really care what the specialization is. Maybe close quarters combat with a shotgun. Just throw it out.
It's gonna be a bad idea. Just throw it at the wall, see what sticks.
Yeah. Maybe like stealth or something.
My Holon has a big mustache. That is a weapon. You tear it off. It's like a boomerang thing. He has old-timey suspenders, and he has big boxing gloves.
You know someone's going to draw that.
That ain't my Holon.
God, somebody needs to draw that by the end of the day.
Yes.
Is Jake here? Jake W? Yeah.
I think my Holon would be like a giant pink fluffy teddy bear. So like it would just kind of come in and be like, hello, I'm here to play with you. And then like one arm would like shoot out candy, and then the other arm would shoot out gasoline and then fire.
That's the scariest shit I've ever heard.
It's like a nightmare Care Bear.
Kind of just me.
like the giant monster from Stranger Things season 2, and then I'd call up Netflix and I'd be like, hey, I have a proposition if you're willing to put up the money. I'd just sell out. I'd sell out immediately.
That's awesome.
I would want mine to have some sort of like sick hoverboard. I just think that would be awesome.
Of course, you would have a skater.
Yeah. You know.
He goes to Hot Topic and hits on the chicks in the food court.
Yeah, make sure that all one is a chain wallet. That'd be great.
So this will be our last question, and it's slated for kind of story, but I think it could be for the whole entire table. What is it? This is from Faunus, by the way. This is a question from Faunus. What is it like to see these incredible, unique characters brought to life, and to extrapolate, how is it to see your character brought to life?
I mean, was it last year? When first footage was shown, right? I was just here and be like, hey, you work on the show, come to RTX. And I was in the back. And I did my work on the show, and the animators and everybody were making it come to life. And that was the first time I saw that. And I don't know if anybody was here last year. I ran up from the back because I was so fucking excited to see that shit come to life. It's amazing, you know, like, one of the things I think that really works about this show is it is a fusion of different cultural sensibilities, and seeing that stuff happen from like the cinematic standpoint and storytelling standpoint is really amazing. You know, Chase feels like a really unique character, you know, and the entire cast does. You know, even where the show comes close to plot beats you may have seen before, I feel like we've managed to find like a different texture that makes it interesting of its own regard. So that stuff has been really, really great for me.
The first time I saw a fully composited, like, final version of a shot, I was really floored because, and it sounds so cheesy, but it's like, it almost sounds mean. I never thought that Rooster would be able to make something that looked that good. And that's just because like imposter syndrome is, I think, something that we all deal with, and it's just like, you know, like we see all these really big name shows, anime, cartoons, and movies, and we all go like, I want to make something like that. And we make a lot of really great shows that are fantastic, but like there was something about having not being a part of the Genlock project and not seeing a ton of it until it was done. It was like, oh my God. Like normally you kind of get used to it and see it evolve over the course of several months, but I think because I was so removed from it, just seeing it, it hit me so much harder than any other show. And like, for a while, whenever I would watch the intro to Genlock, I'd cry. Because it was amazing to just know that I worked in the same building with the people that made that.
It's also an awesome song.
Hell yeah!
I think for me, you know, having done the voice for such a long time with all the trailers and everything, and talking like this, and then I felt the character, and you know, you get into that zone, but I had no idea what she looked like. And so the first time that I came to actually work at Rooster Teeth to record with Ray, a friend of mine, Jen Tidwell, was like, let me show you what she looks like. And to see her move, like I'm getting kind of a clump just talking about it, because to see her move, and then to hear my voice come out of her face, I'm like, oh my God, it sounds like my voice is actually coming out of her mouth. Like, it looks like, oh my God. I had this whole experience because I've never been on that side of it. Like, except for Sienna.
Can I ask a favor? Can you say "Get It Done, Vanguard"?
Get it done, Vanguard.
Kind of to echo Miles' sentiment, you know, going from seeing that pitch deck book and looking through it, and I was like really hyped up on like Cyberpunk and Blade Runner was having their anime thing, and then I was like, dude, Ghost in the Shell, and seeing that, and I was like, there's no way we're gonna make this. This is impossible. This is insane looking, and then for the actual cartoon to come out, I'm so happy that I work with the Rooster Teeth animation team because like they did the impossible. It looks so good.
You're here.
Yeah, the first time I saw Jody, I was like, Soul Patch, really? And I was like, man, he's gonna be a dick. But actually, one thing that was super cool, I think, from a character perspective for him that really kind of got me into character was when he was actually the one confronting Miranda about talking to Chase. And I was like, oh, great. Like, he actually, like, this shows that he's not just going to be that stereotypical, like, dude that's in the way in the love triangle, but the fact that he's actively trying to, like, hey, do I need to have a conversation? Like, we need to talk to him about this stuff because it's messed up. That was the thing for me that, like, really was, like, got me into the character.
Speaking of feeling weird, seeing your voice come out of a character, seeing your voice come out of a character that looks a lot like you is very, very weird. But it was, I mean, it was great. I seen the guy walk around in that world. It felt like I was kind of walking around in it. It felt very weird, and I hope to see more of him in season 2. Just speaking about the characters and stuff overall, I think the cast of characters is so richly diverse and colorful and interesting. Like it's just like you were saying, I do think representation really matters, and I think you guys did an excellent job with it. And just seeing all of those cool characters come to life, like I got really into it. So it's amazing. Yeah.
Cool. Well, y'all, first off, thank you for the amazing panelists that were up here today. Thank you so much. Again, I want to thank the amazing crew of Genlock that's out in the audience. And lastly, thank you for watching the show and supporting us. We really appreciate you. Have a great RTX, everybody.